Joining me here in the studio today with us, we do have Sherri Callihoo, who's with the Northwest Central FASD Network. And she is here today to talk about, well, what FASD is and all the, all the work that she has been doing with folks in the community. First off, Sherri, I want to thank you for coming on in this morning. No, it's
you're welcome, Molly.
It's really, really early, but I just want to say thank you, and nice for you to be here today to chat with our listeners and basically, let them know what does FASD stand for.
FASD stands for Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder. There was a different referrals of FAS in the past, but because it's so broad, they've had to put it under a disorder which umbrellas all of it, all of the symptoms, all of the characteristics. Because, like I said, no two people are alike. Mm-hmm. So, and there's different degrees and severity of FASD.
Now, obviously, someone, how would you be able to tell, I guess, if somebody had FASD?
Oh, my gosh. FASD is often referred to as the hidden disability, because you can't physically tell if a person has been diagnosed with FASD. FASD is the is the permanent brain damage that can be caused to baby if mom drinks alcohol while pregnant. Mm-hmm. So it's less than 2% of people who have been diagnosed with FASD actually have the facial characteristics. Mm-hmm. And with, like I said, with severity, there are some physical characteristics that can be diagnosed, but quite often not.
Yeah, and you know, that is one thing that I've heard also in the past is you hear people talking, oh, that person has FASD. Look, you could tell. I mean, and then, but there are times where you cannot tell.
No.
I mean, they are just, they look and they seem to be acting out like just any other person, but then underneath,
yes,
they might be living with it.
Exactly. The brain damage shows up in the person's behaviors and abilities. You can't know that with just meeting somebody, and the excuse me, to be diagnosed if there is suspicion of FASD, they really have to start diagnosing them when they're in school, when they start school, because you can't really tell what they struggle with and what they don't struggle with. So it's very much so their behaviors and their abilities and what they're able to do and not able to do.
Yeah. So when they're in school, would this be like in their early years, like kindergarten, preschool?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, as young as 5, depending on the severity, but usually around 6, 7, 8.
Okay. And can it also be diagnosed later?
Yes. We're finding that we have a waiting list of adults waiting to be assessed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What can be done to help somebody who is living with FASD? Because, I mean, it affects them, but it also affects the entire family as a whole.
Oh, definitely, yes. Well, the Northwest Central FASD Network, where I do work with great pride. We start with the assessment, and we also provide support with people before and after the assessment, which is really important, right? To be able to help them not only get to their appointments and open the door for them, but just to be there for them. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
That is a big thing, to realize that you might, have potentially have a behavior or something that you had thought in the past was just you. My memory is not very good. My attention span is not very good. But now there might be an actual diagnosis for that. So it's important to support the woman.
And even with, I guess, and I guess that's why in school, for the most part, it becomes diagnosed there because, I don't know, maybe with learning and, being taught there in school, they might be behind some of the other students, might not be picking up what's being taught to them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What we're finding is they have a hard time focusing, even a hard time just sitting still. And I just want to make a reference. I used to work at a treatment center, and 2 short years ago, we had no idea what FASD was, and we would have clients that had a hard time sitting still and were disruptive, and we would target them. We would as being difficult.
Yeah.
They just don't want to be in this room. They just don't want to be here. Unbeknownst to us that there was actually something going on there. So
now, you've been involved with the Northwest Central FASD Network for over a year now.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you work primarily with families back in Alexander, which is also the community that you're from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very proud to be from.
Yeah.
I work with young women at risk of having alcohol and or drug-affected babies. And my region is Alexander, but I have covered and worked with men as well in different regions, because it's just with the new information that's coming out, right? It's just, like I said, we have an adult waiting list, and it's quite long.
Yeah.
And so it's not unheard of to have our network, which will consist of 12 people, which is, in my opinion, not enough. But to cover for others expertise and so on and so forth, because it's something that needs to be it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
But the stigma that surrounds FASD is deep.
Is
right?
it? That's what I was just going to ask, because like we were just saying here, it affects not just the person, but the family members, and then sometimes you get people from the outside that might have a negative look and approach as to what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sherri Callihoo, who's with the Northwest FASD Network, is here with us in the studio this morning. And with the holidays coming up, it's quite important, again, just to get this word out and let people be aware. Where does one go for help?
With where I'm employed, the FASD, Northwest Central FASD Network, we do have a clinician, and the process is, for example, with myself, if I do suspect one of the young women that I work with might have FASD, the process is for myself to get a hold of the clinician. We have a psychologist, OT, on board, and it's just a matter of going to be assessed with a psychologist. The big thing that we are trying to do now, because of the season, the joyous season, is the prevention conversation. I like to refer to it as the no shaming, no blaming conversation, because I have no idea, with the young women that I work with, I have no idea what they go through day to day.
Yeah.
And with my experience with addiction, I know that it's a means to cope. And so I don't know. I don't know what they go through day by day. And I lost it there for a second. Go ahead.
Pardon me.
Sorry, Wally.
No, that's fine. That is quite fine. Now, with people that are living with FASD, now, I guess this is something that could be prevented.
Yes,
correct?
100% preventable.
Is there anything being done to help?
With the prevention conversation,
Yeah.
like I mentioned before, focusing on that a lot, because, like I said, we have no idea why. It's always a means of coping, and just to get. We're trying to go to different organizations, entire communities, to try to alleviate that stigma of FASD. It's not comfortable talking about.
Yeah.
To have to disclose that you potentially drank while you were pregnant. So it's hard to do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of guilt.
There is a lot of shame and there's a lot of guilt. Yes.
With this being, when working with families, when working with women out there, if you find out if someone is, let's say, drinking while they are pregnant, what would it take for that woman or that person to consume, I guess, the alcohol?
What would it take for them to consume the alcohol?
No, what would it take for them? I guess it probably works differently. If a woman is pregnant, she's drinking. How much would she have to drink in order to say, hey, we got to watch out here. You got to stop this because this could possibly happen to your child, FASD.
It's not known.
It's not known.
No. Any amount.
Yeah.
There is no safe amount to drink while you're pregnant. 50% of pregnancies are unplanned.
Yeah.
And I know that once they do find out they're pregnant, there's a good possibility that they will stop drinking at that point, but not always, right? And that's where I can step in and be that support to them, right? But no, there's no safe amount that can be consumed at any trimester.
Okay.
So it's just abstinence, complete abstinence if possible.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You work with these ladies, and hopefully that they find out that they're pregnant, they could stop with the alcohol consumption, and then for the most part, we'll have a healthy child.
Yes.
Hopefully not with having to be faced with FASD.
Yes, in a perfect world.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I was mentioning to you before that with my job, it can be very stressful, but the rewards the simple rewards of seeing the smile and a thank you and them feeling hopeful.
Yeah.
It's joyous.
Yeah. Well, like we were also talking here just before we went on, that you had a client that invited you in for the ultrasound, and just something like that is a huge reward in itself.
It is so big. Yeah, being invited to view the baby, the fetus, the embryo, while she was having her first ultrasound. It's little things like that, that's for myself. I mentioned with them being hopeful, but for me, it keeps me going. Yeah. Right? Those little rewards. It really does. Yeah.
And just being the compassionate person that you are, I'm sure it just makes it a lot easier for these people to want to open up to you and chat with you. I mean, it probably takes a little bit of work, but it eventually does happen.
It eventually does, yes.
Yeah.
I'm finding that I am able to create a very safe environment for these young women, not only the young women, with the families, the extended, immediate families, Kukum, Muslim, mom, dad, the whole gamut, right?
Yeah. Sherri, is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap things up here this morning?
Yes, I would just like to. It's just a little quote that I like. Remember, where alcohol and pregnancy are concerned, there is no known safe amount, no known safe kind, and no known safe time to drink when you are pregnant. There is no cure. So if there is, if you need support or help or want to talk about even FASD, you certainly can give me a call at 780-913-4745. 2843, or the main office with the FASD network is 780-284-3415.
All right. And anybody there will be able to help that person
Yes.
out and provide them with any information that they would like.
Most certainly, yes.
Now, the Northwest Central FASD network covers actually quite a broad area.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
From Jasper to Westlock,
Okay.
the northwest part of the province. It's broad.
Okay.
like you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that also covers the Edmonton region as well?
No.
Or Edmonton
No.
is...
Edmonton has
different
their,
entity on
yes,
itself.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, Sherri, I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning.
You're welcome, Molly. It was a pleasure.
It was great to have you here. And again, just to get this word out and just to remind people
Yes.
the effects of FASD and, just, I guess, the journey someone has to go through. And it could be a rough road.
It could be a rough road, exactly. And coming from a very empathetic, non-judgmental place.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming in, and have a great holiday.
Thank you. You too.